Hello, I'm here today to show you how to do a tear bear with fleece fabric. You can buy the fleece at any fabric store. They can be really flimsy, but I'll show you how to make them nice and sturdy like this. So this is what we are going to work on today. The fleece I buy it by the yard, and then I just cut it down to workable size. One side of the fleece is kind of like fuzzy and furry. It looks real nice, and the other side doesn't look very nice. Use that as your back side. And then I just have some white here as well. The first thing you need to do is cut out your pieces. And the pattern I'm using today is from Treasure Box Designs, and it is one of the Teddy Trios in the Teddy Trio set that you can find on the Treasure Box Design website. I like to coordinate my pieces to the color of the fleece I'm going to be using. Obviously the eyes and the nose are going to stay paper, but the muzzle and the bear parts are going to be in brown and white. Once you have your pieces cut out, you get your fleece, and on the back side, not the fuzzy side, but the back side, you are going to put your pieces down and just trace around them, creating a pattern. Make sure that when you take your pieces, you do the back side upside down, so then when you cut it out, the front is the front. And I just use a regular Sharpie. I use red for the brown, and I don't know why, but I use blue for the white. So you'll just trace around it. Give yourself enough space in between each piece. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You just don't want to go too much underneath so you don't cut it too small. So you do want it to be the size or a little bit bigger than the piece of paper. So, once you trace all your pieces, like I have here, you will just cut each piece out. And I use fabric scissors on fleece instead of my paper scissors. It just gives it a cleaner cut, I think. You don't have to worry about snagging and all that stuff. I'm just doing a quick cut around the edges. Now I'll just cut my pattern out. And then, because there's still some ink on there, I like to shave that off by just kind of tilting my scissors at an angle and just trimming along the edges. Be very careful not to cut too far down so you don't cut the pattern and make it different shape. And then just toss the scraps. Once you get all your pieces cut out, you'll want to adhere them onto the paper that you had originally cut out and traced from. And I just use regular Tombow Aqua Liquid Glue. Some people use fabric glue. That's fine too. I've even at times used two-sided tape. Really, whatever you prefer. And then you just lay your piece on top of the paper. And if the paper sticks out just a little bit around the edges, don't worry about it too much. It should be hidden when you fluff it out. If it does still stick out, you can always trim the paper. But just a tiny bit, not going to matter. And once you glued all your pieces together, you're ready to fluff. To fluff, I just use a mat. This is my piercing mat for the So Easy tool. And then a wire whisk brush. I just bought this at Walmart in the houseware section. You can find them probably in any hardware store as well. And just very lightly go around the edges. You don't have to be too rough with it. And you'll start to see it start fluffing out, giving it that furry look. I think it's easier than mulberry paper. It's a little more flexible as far as getting it to go just the way you want it. And now he's all fuzzy. Once you're done making them all your pieces fuzzy, you're going to want to chalk them or ink them on the edges just so they are more defined. I use Colorbox Fluid Chalk, and this is the Chestnut Rune color. And I just go around the edges. Don't have to go very hard, just like you would on paper pieces. And obviously the harder you press, the darker it gets. And then if you go a little more flatter, you can do more shading. And once they're all chalked, you're ready to assemble all the pieces. I've got him almost done. I'm going to do the body part first. And then we'll finish up with his head. When you're applying glue to the fur side, it's okay to put a lot on. Just not too close to the edges because it will smush out. And pressure helps too to get it really into those fibers. And using his other legs, you know, where to place it, like it sits in the back. Press that down. And Treasure Box Designs actually has a tear bear that you can use with really nice smooth edges. The smoother the edges, the easier it is to cut. It looks better. Once you get all that detail in there and you fluff it out, you can't even see the detail anymore. So smooth edges work the best. And they also have lots of little outfits you can dress your little teddies in. Arm is really long, but we'll make do. I know some ladies say when they use the fabric glue, it kind of gives it more of a stiffness to it. using the paper, it gives it stiffness already. So it really is just your preference. I don't know how I want this thing to go. Look at that. Okay. I'll put him off to the side so I can work on his face. I've already got his ears and his muzzle on. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to place his eyes down. So I know where they're going to go. I like to add black around the eyes, give it more of a definition. So when I'm happy of where they're placed, I will just take my 0.05 micron pen and just right alongside make a line on the outside of his eye. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's just a guide. And now build his eyes. And for this part I use chalk. Little tiny little balls. You can find those at the craft stores too. Get some black and follow over that line. And same on this side. And then I kind of fluff it out to towards the edges. And if it gets too dark, you can always add white, kind of lighten it up. And now, I'm going to put the eyes on. And I do tuck his eyes a little bit under his muzzle, not too much. And once I have him where I want him to be, let's start to create his eyes. If you ever wanted to know how I did eyes, this is how. First I just used white chalk to give them that glossy eye look. Then I use my gel pen to give them the white dots. Then I get my micron pen again, and I just do eyelashes. With eyelashes on Tear Bears, you don't have to worry about them being curly or long. It's just making lines to give it that look of eyelashes. Because the more you draw on Fleece, the darker it's going to be, and if you do too much, it's going to look like it's going to give them black eyes. So less is more when it comes to lashes on Tear Bears. And then final step for the eyes, I just use my chalk pencil and do my little line on the side. And now I'm ready for his little nose. And if you'd like, you can put that little glimmer on his nose. He's ready. Almost. Forgot about his cheeks. If you'd like to have pink cheeks on your bear, I just use pink chalk. And just right on the outside, working my way in. And you can use ink too. You can even do this before you put the muzzle on if you're going to use ink, I guess. It's really whatever you want. Now he's ready to be put on his body. And there you go. Fleece Bears, all put together. His head is still wet, so I still want his head to fall. Once that dries, he'll be nice and stiff like this guy. So, thank you for coming and checking out my tutorial. Have a good day.